Welcome, everybody. My name is Ida Farhat, and thank you for joining us here at Cosmic Brew. I have my special guest, Jennifer Nunez from Innerversity.com, I believe. I'm so excited to have you right now, Jennifer. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Ida. It's
Absolutely.
wonderful to be on the show.
Yes, it's super exciting. I'm a little
it's been a moment for me too. So
yeah, but this is exciting, and I'm sure that people are going to enjoy what you have to share tonight. This will be your first time, I'm assuming, sharing a little bit about your history and so forth on. No, okay, I didn't know that. That's okay.
I'm kind of letting spirit lead, so who knows what's going to all come out. But I've done podcasts in the past, and there are videos up on my channel, my YouTube channel, I believe. So,
and we'll make sure that you share that at the end and let everybody know where they can find you.
All the links are in your description already.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to share a little bit of your bio and then ask you to maybe share with the audience a little bit about your history and what's brought you where you're at now. The topic of the show is personal alchemy. And I think that that's a great topic to have, especially with somebody like yourself that does the type of work you do. So I think this is going to be a treat for a lot of people. Jennifer Nunez is my guest here tonight as a visionary leader of Rise Innerversity and Rooted Publishing House and the force behind Unity Works Agency. Jen empowers soulpreneurs to bridge the cosmic realms with grounding. I'm sorry, the light is a little dark in here because I had to shut my blinds. The lights are coming through, guys. Grounding essence. Wait, let me start that over. I apologize.
It's okay.
Jen empowers soulpreneurs to bridge the cosmic realm with the grounding essence of Earth. Her innovative approach combines adventure-driven learning, tech savviness, and strategic business insights to foster transformative experiences. At the heart of her mission, Jen helps visionaries tackle practical tools. She guides individuals towards realizing their soul's calling and building impactful legacies. A mentor, speaker, and advocate for 5D learning, Jen offers platforms like Rise and Unity Works Agency for growth, showcasing, and real-world application. Connect with her for a journey into cosmic potential and tangible success. And all her links are going to be are in the event page, and I'll make sure that they're also on YouTube. Connect with her journey into cosmic potential and tangible success and explore how Unity Work Agency can elevate your vision at unityworksagency.com. That was a mouthful, but that's okay. I think everybody kind of got what I was saying there. Welcome, Jennifer. And I can say I am one of your clients, and we could talk about a little bit of that later in the show. I'm really eager.
It does tie into my journey, and it does include in the topic of alchemy itself. So, yeah, we can definitely dive into. That's the solution.
Okay, well, before we get to the topic, can you share with the audience a little bit about your background? And I know that you had a Kundalini activation, and you had some experiences that were pretty jarring, to say the least, from those experiences. So if you don't mind sharing what you're comfortable with the audience. And
absolutely. So a little bit about where I was before I had my Kundalini awakening, which was in 2017. I grew up what was normal for a lot of us. Latchkey kid, mom was divorced, saw dad every first, third, and fifth weekend. When the divorce happened, my mom met a man that was every type of abuse, you name it, happened pretty much within the house. And I'm the middle child. I have two sisters, and it was kind of like the abuse was different for each of us. But needless to say, the abuse was there. When it came to me, it was a lot of like mental, verbal, and sexual abuse that I didn't really talk about that much. There were things within my childhood that I always went, I always went against the grain. I always questioned things. Things just didn't seem like there was something there that I didn't quite know until later in my years, just to say. So, needless to say, the relationship within that household with my stepdad, which I consider my first handler, was my first handler. That started probably around the age of 6 and lasted till I was about 13, 14 years old. After he left, that's when I went into full-blown rebellion. And the things that I kind of learned from him or was programmed, I started to do, drinking, drugs, you name it. I full rebelled, even in school. So I was a dropout and then I'd go back to school. It took me a long time to just graduate. Again, that's a whole nother story. Everyone that resonates with, being spiritual or awakening knew that something in school was not right. So it never made sense to me. Nothing ever made sense to me. So going through my life, I was in my own bubble, but my bubble started to consist of me being in the bottom of a bottle. And through the period of being a teenager all the way into adulthood, pretty much every relationship was abusive and controlling. More handlers, you can say, coming into my life. And around 25 was when I gave birth to my son. And he absolutely changed my world. But I will also say that I struggled a lot I had postpartum depression. I was in and out of psychiatric hospitals, in and out of recovery programs. I could never get an extensive length of sobriety. And this continued for many years, probably from the age of 14, 15 was when I really started to rebel, to 37 when I had my Kundalini awakening. And prior to me having it, I could notice that there were serendipitous moments within my life. And, we've talked behind the scenes a couple of times about recovery programs. And like I said before, I was in and out. I had done AA, and I could never really get it. Nothing had quite got that attention. And there was a lot of enabling through my journey as well. So it finally boiled to a point that no one really wanted to deal with me. And I remember it was in May of 2017. It was actually Memorial Day was the last day that I remember. And I used to work for a country club at the time. And I've done several different jobs throughout my life as well. I'm a jack of all trades, pretty much. And I remember going home. Home at that time I was staying with my current boyfriend. And I remember going to sleep. And then I woke up in my family home. And it was 3 days later. And I had no idea what had happened. And apparently there were a bunch of series of events that I ended up in the hospital, from what people told me, which was my little sister and my best friend at the time. They were the ones that apparently I was in my car, I was driving around. I got a flat tire. I called one of my friends to come help me. I went ballistic on her. I ended up running into oncoming traffic and jumping over a bayou and having EMS and the ambulance and everybody trying to get me. My little sister says that it looked like something out of a movie. So, like, very kind of superhuman like. And they took me to the hospital. They did blood work. I came back clean. And of course, they let me go because they all thought that it was a substance, but there was not anything in my system like alcohol at that time. So I don't remember any of this. I still don't fully remember any of this. It's just what I was going off of. But that was the tip of like my Kundalini awakening. So that happened. I almost lost the job that I was working at. My boyfriend broke up with me. My family didn't want to have anything to do with me. And I went to sleep in one house and I woke up in a different house, and it was 3 days later and I can't remember anything. And shortly after that, a lot of weird shit started to happen in my life. To the point that I thought that I was, well, it was a couple of different things. I thought, oh shit, this is, all the acid I took when I was younger. I was having a flashback because I was hallucinating. And I was hallucinating to the point where I was having conversations. I was in New York City. I was at these different places doing these different types of events. I felt like I was being followed. And it was also.
Wait, excuse me for 1 second. Are you saying you were actually in New York City, or that was your perception in your mind?
I can't honestly tell you if I was or not. I was in my mind. I didn't physically get on a plane. My family told me I didn't leave the house. This was going on for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
But it was to the point that I thought it was so real that I ended up calling room service one night and ordered pancakes to some room that I thought was mine. So if somebody was staying in that room, they got room service in the middle of the night. So, but yeah, all this things were happening that I couldn't quite explain. And I was sober. That was the thing. And I was like, it was a very strong hallucinations. It just kind of kept escalating. My dreams were very vivid. I felt like I was walking through dimensions. I was having conversations with my family that they told me never really happened. And it just like over 2 weeks, this was building up to the point where I was at home and it was on a weekend, and I don't live alone, but I was alone at that weekend, and I didn't feel right. I had a lot of high anxiety going through me, and it was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, okay, I'm just going to take a nap and go to sleep. I locked my car up, put my keys up and everything like that, locked the house and laid down. And I woke up the next morning full clothed. Car was parked in front of the house out of the driveway. And I walked into the kitchen and it looked like there was a place setting that I had somebody over and had dinner, and it was 2 people and I was all alone. And I picked up the phone and I called my sister and I told her that something was going on and she needed to take me to the hospital because I didn't quite know. And so I checked myself in the hospital, and that was the time that I started to hear what I refer to as the voice. I also call it Papa. I feel like it was creator source energy because it was very gentle and it would come in and calm, and it kept telling me that I wasn't going crazy. And that, just to go through the steps to help me get like level, because at that point in time I was reaching like paranoia. I thought they had the house bugged. I thought that they were watching me. I started seeing the Hat Man pop up, like all this, like my gifts were full on. And I've always been intuitive. I am a Pisces. I've always had that gift, but this was escalated to a level that I hadn't quite experienced, and I wasn't quite ready for it. But all while I was going through this, there was an internal voice that was comforting me, that was telling me that it's okay, you're going to be okay. And so I ended up going into a outpatient treatment thing. And they wanted to start giving me medication. And because of my, lifelong journey of hard knocks that I needed to go through, I was in and out of psychiatrics. So they were constantly putting me on different medications, anxiety, depression. I was never fully diagnosed bipolar, so, or any type of schizophrenia or anything like that. It was alcoholism, anxiety, and depression and now that I know human design, I know exactly what that is. So that's helped me clear that aspect of it. But they were trying to, this time when I was going around, they were trying to tell me that I was bipolar. And that didn't resonate with me because I have a family member that has gone through that, and I know that the signs of it starts to manifest when in your younger years. And I was 37 at the time. Also, just to kind of let the women know out there, that was the time too that I started to go through the change, and that triggers a lot of spiritual awakening at the same time. So it's like I had I feel like I had planned, or it's in my contract up there, that, oh, this is how you're going to do it. We're going to do multiple things at once, because I'm an either all in or all out girl. We're
Mhm.
not going to do it all unless we're going to do it to the extreme. So
I can resonate with that.
I know you can.
Yes.
So yeah, it all escalated. I was in this it was like a 2-week outpatient program, and it was helping me calibrate out. They were trying to give me medication. I wasn't fully taking the medication, but I was just like listening, and I went back and I did what I had been programmed to do. But I did something different this time. And anybody that is watching that has struggled with any type of addiction or recovery, I don't have anything against recovery programs or Alcoholics Anonymous, but I do feel like there is some inconsistencies and things that are missing, and some things that need to be changed. And one of them that I did differently, because after I got out of the outpatient program, I did go back to doing my meetings. Because I was detoxing too. And when I was a very heavy drinker, and towards the end it was a lot of vodka. So and because at that point I just didn't want to be here. Death jails and institutions, I've done it all. Near death experiences, drinking to the excess of, thank God I woke up and didn't stop breathing. I mean, you name it, I've done it. Nothing fully took me off this planet. But at that time, before all this happened, I was, take me, please.
Mhm.
Um, so when I went back to AA this time, you get a 24-hour chip. And then they do miles of celebration, like 30 days, 60-day, 90-day, 6 months, all this. And every time I went back, of course, it was the same people saying the same stuff, same stories.
Mhm.
And they would always ask, how many days you have? And I said, just today. And I said, just today, even now that I have 6 years. And what I noticed, and what I was being guided to, was mindfulness. And mindfulness plays a key part in the alchemy of self, because we're all alchemists. It's in the moment where all the magic is happening, and we're so distracted. We're in the future, we're in the past, that
Right.
we don't see it.
Mhm.
And that was a pivotal moment for me, because I never picked up another chip after that. I only have my 24-hour chip, because you only have this moment. So I don't celebrate. I stopped celebrating the birthdays. I did get a sponsor. She was really awesome. She was spiritual as well. And I also noticed that when I had gone through the steps this time, mine was a living amends. It didn't matter what the hell I said or anything like that. Nothing would change. I had to change me. It was to the point where my son had told me he didn't want to have anything to do with me, my family, my job. Like I had nothing. And so I did it for me. And that was the difference too. Out of all the other times, it was because the court told me to do it. It was because my family told me to do it. It was to keep me, my ex happy, you know, or some other fucking reason outside of me, because let's face it, the truth is I had no self-worth, you know. I was only kind of going through these motions because of what happened to me when I was a child. I my handler did a number. Like that's what they do. They're great with programming, is going through the motions of things, becoming numb to your outside circumstances. And alcohol was the best way that I could get numb the fastest. So knowing human design, I have an emotional center. I can't shut off that emotions fully. I experience the waves, and I'm empathetic. I can pick up other people's energies. So, I mean, it was a lot. But when I had gone through, I did all the steps, and I did them like one a week. And I started to notice that, you know, when you know anything about the recovery program or the 12 steps, it is designed for a spiritual awakening. I feel like it's missing things. There are things that you can insert or help or give someone a different perception of it. But I did, and I started to notice out things because I started with the mindfulness, the magic started to happen. And it was,
I love that. That's
I
fantastic.
have,
Excuse, I'm just going off screen for 1 second, Jennifer, so I can shut this door.
okay.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
How do I do?
Well, I'll just keep talking, guys. So I had noticed with each step that there was something that was magical or mystical that was happening with me. And it always started to be with like life experiences. One was something about teaching patience. I have a set of runes. For those who personally know me, I can be a little woo-woo. I love mystical stuff. I have tarot cards and things like that. But I have a set of runes that are serenity runes, and they focus on 5 of the key things on the serenity prayer. And each one started to correlate with something that was happening to me in my life. And that's what really put me on the journey to mindfulness, which was the first thing that I dove into to get my certification with. So started with mindfulness, and then it was full steam ahead after that. You know, with the voice that was talking or guiding me inside, it just started to lead me down rabbit holes. And we all know what that is. It was all sorts of different information. I started to come across different documentaries. The first book that I picked up was the Kabbalion, and I understood everything that it was saying, and I had never been exposed to anything like that. I never read it. So I knew
Kabbalion, is that how you said it?
Yeah, it's the Kabbalion. It's written by the three initiates. It's the Hermetic Principles.
I would love to get that.
I have a copy. I can send it to you. There's a copy actually inside of Rise Innerversity if anybody would like to read it. It's it's based on the 7 Hermetic Principles that tie into universal law. I don't like to say 12 because we have way more than 12.
Sure.
But
can I just briefly, because something is sticking out in my mind. I mean, I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and you and I've talked many times. I consider you a very good friend, and I want to say that here. that I appreciate you so much, Jennifer. And I
Appreciate
mean
you
that.
too, Ida.
Yeah. But when you were talking about being chased by the police and felt like a superpower that came over you, like something in the movies, somebody like a I forgot what word you used. What word you use?
I can't.
Something. Yeah.
I can't
Well,
remember
the
actually.
reason I'm bringing that up several times about the projects and programs of my lab and um, secret soldier program and so forth, and there's just from the little bit that I know, and I think I know a little bit, your story, there's certain things that you share that from my knowledge and my own experiences would say are leaning towards being used in these projects and programs, and I surely don't want to insert anything in your mind or
It's
have
I've
you.
already no insertion at all. That
Yeah,
is my next part of my story was that I had come across the Kathy O'Brien documentary,
right.
the original one that she did, and
um
I was speechless after I saw it because
yeah, my
she
mind's going blank. I love Kathy O'Brien. I think she's the most courageous woman. Yeah.
well, her story, not the after, but the
Yeah.
beginning of her story with her stepdad, how
Mhm.
how it got started. There were things that she said that I had never told anyone in my entire life, that's when the puzzle pieces started to put together. My mom was perfect, the perfect target for that. Three girls, one was just born.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, military background with this man, like crazy. I mean, all like he was tied in with government officials, all sorts of kind of crazy ass stuff that I have uncovered along my journey. That I don't surprise it. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't doubt it actually. Um, I've just been looking for solutions to it. And we've had conversations about this recently.
Mhm.
You know, I feel like it's there, and I feel like that's why, right after I had, you know, came online basically, because I was seeing sacred geometry and just all sorts of things. That's when I started to experience things that put me down other rabbit holes like reptilians and the black goo, the Hat Man. I've seen the Hat
Yes.
Man. I've even seen shadow. I'm really actually I see all sorts of types of shadow people. Especially recently, I'm now seeing people with nothing but black blurs driving around. I don't
Mm.
know what all that is about, but shadow beings. Me and my sister saw a shadow dog-like feature
Mhm. Yep.
walking the perimeter of my house. But of course, my house is protected and gridded because of these things. So it kind of all went in hand in hand. And this is where all the alchemy of self comes in because I learned, I was schooled by higher guidance um, to start implementing things like protection and paying attention and not dismissing things that, come up in your intuition, things that make you go, And I have there's videos I've done, and I've got courses inside of Rise Innerversity where I talk about RAS, which is the reticular activating system. And she's really good at holding that program. Uh, so when you first start getting into this journey, I had to recognize what cognitive dissonance was
Right.
and lean the fuck in and
Mhm.
trust that whatever is coming in my etheric field is meant for me. And I kept just asking higher guidance. I kept asking my higher self to lead me and show me what the truth was. And I still to this day, that's the only two people that I channel that I connect with, that I always go for guidance. I don't deal with any other outside entity. If an outside entity comes in my way, they have to go through the chain of command, which is go up to source and come down that way. So
very good. I mean, that's lovely. I love to hear that, because I'm a person that often, reminds people that, I pray, but I ask my higher self to give me guidance, strength, and courage, right? Because I believe that we're all an aspect of the divine, and there's nothing outside of you that you need to be praying to. Honor who and what you are, right? Ask for your higher self to give you guidance. Face your north node, or I'm sorry. Yeah, no, not north node. Your north star.
yeah,
Sorry, I said north
North
node.
Star.
And actually, somebody had brought up the North Star to me, I don't know, a few months back, and I've heard of it and so forth, but I never really understood. I've kind of ran my own show for a long time, meaning like my life. I like to, or at least I thought I was.
Yeah, me
And
too.
yeah, right. And but wow, Jennifer, I was really enjoying listening to you and what you were sharing. And I've heard you've shared a lot of things with me, but just sitting back and really paying attention and really taking it all in. I mean, you're an amazing woman. And had I never knew any of those things about you, I would never know any of that. Right. I wouldn't. So you've obviously transformed your life and alchemized, use your own method of transformation, which you call personal alchemy, which to me, when I hear somebody say personal alchemy, I think about integration and transmuting and rising to a higher octave of frequency in order to, so we have shadow, right? You and I do a lot of shadow work together. We have shadow, but we can also learn from the shadow how to move out of the lower expression of that into a higher expression on the flip side, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think you do a fantastic job on that, because you know, me and Ida are obviously really good friends, and we do talk a lot. And the one thing that I absolutely love about you is that, we all have shadows. We're all going to have triggers. We're all going to have these things that come up. But you are in the personal alchemy and the alchemy of self, because you're taking that personal responsibility and you're taking time to reflect what the experience itself is teaching you. And that's kind of what I started to do. And where I started to do things different was that I just let source teach and guide me. And that happens within the experience that you're currently going through. And the only way that you can be aware of that is being in the moment. This is where, what happened to me in that incident was something that absolutely changed my life. I'm still trying to make sense of the situation. There's still things that I don't remember, but what that did was a pivotal moment for me, that it projected me in where I'm at now. And where I'm at now is, I have the value of self. I know that there's magic all around us. I know that just with any trigger or anything that's coming up, how I react to the situation is going to determine what direction that I'm going to go in. And way back when, I did not know that. I mean, for those of you who know human design, my design is what's called a manifester, and manifestors are 9% of the population. And the one thing that they're not meant to be constricted. And we've seen powerful manifestors throughout history, that where their energy can take them. oh gosh, I can't. Adolf Hitler was one. He was a manifestor, even though I do feel like he was controlled, but they still tapped into his energy. Putin is a manifestor. We've seen a lot of powerful people go through our office that are manifestors, but outside of the human design aspect, I started to really recognize what my energy can do. And through my journey, I really dove into learning things. First, it started with mindfulness, and then I dove into Reiki. I've always, like I said, I've always been a little woo-woo and witchy. So I started to read more on my herbs, learning astrology, this type of thing. And just like a lot of us out there that are here for a greater purpose, that have been wrung through the ringer, we want to share that with the world. And then I went down, I started learning about how to market yourself online. I had always had an office job. I was really good at working in the 3D, so to say. So I did a lot of office administration, accounts payables, receivables, reception, event coordinating, all sorts of different things. So I just started implementing that. And what I realized along the journey is that the journey to becoming a soulpreneur is
I love that name. That's
it's
so beautiful. Soulpreneur. It really is.
yes, it's going to, you've really got to have a handbasket of tools to be able to navigate what comes up, because this is always going to be your worst enemy. This is what really needs to lead is your heart. And boy, social media will trigger so much to come inside of you, especially when you're trying to put yourself out there. So I realized that I got laid off in 2019. Like I got laid off, which I knew. This is how I knew that whatever voice was talking to me inside, that it was something there. It was a year I knew before I was going to get laid off. And at the time I was started building my website and getting my certifications and this and that. And it was kind of like build it and they will come thing. And I knew that I was going to get laid off all the way up to the point that the day I walked in and I was told that it was going to happen, I was clearing out my browser on my computer while the IT guy was remote logging in to lock me out.
Wow.
And my boss came around the corner, pulled me into the office and let me go, but let me go with severance. That's what all I asked higher guidance. I said, if you're going to let me go, please just make sure that I'm taken care of for 3 months.
Sure.
And I got 4 months. So I got a bonus extra month. And when it all happened, I was asked, do you have anything to say? And the only thing I said that I could say was I stood up and I said, I knew this was coming. That's the only reason I'm handling it so well. And I walked out. I had already cleared out my desk. I didn't have to get anything. Like I knew. And that I just went into my car and I bawled my eyes out.
No,
And I
Jennifer.
knew that something higher than me was
Right.
talking.
Yes.
And that it wasn't, out to cause me harm. It wasn't me hearing any type of voices. It wasn't anything like that. It was source creator energy and my higher self working to channel the information down to my vessel here. And that's exactly how it was shown to me. Because when I came online, I'm fully aware of that we have different aspects. I'm fully aware of my different aspects in different dimensions.
That's I don't mean to interrupt you. No, please go ahead. Finish.
No, but
that's what I was thinking when you were saying that, the story about, we are multi-dimensional beings for sure. And I too have experienced that, different aspects of myself in different dimensions being used in battle and so forth. And but I think that's absolutely fascinating that you handle it the way you did. I don't know how long were you at that job? I
Over
mean, did
5
you have,
years.
yeah, so you had a bit of an investment
I
in
had
probably
I
your
had
time. Yeah.
I was very much involved in the
Yeah.
country. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
So, yeah. But you obviously, I mean, you listen to that voice, and that's the spirit within. I wrote in my book, God's spirit speaks to me in spirit spoken words. Often it's a whisper in our mind. You just have to slow down to listen, because it's not a loud, hey, you know, the loudness is the ego. The soft and subtle is definitely the spirit, and we know the difference. Um,
yes.
it's yeah.
It
So
is. It was like that's where the alchemy itself comes in, because when you start to connect with, your higher self, source creator, something greater than you,
sure,
and you allow it to teach you what you need to go through, life is the initiation. It's going to give you those different steps. But, there are people, teachers, mentors, like me and a lot of us out there that can help you guide through the steps. But I'm a firm believer that, my mentoring and my purpose here, which I serve multiple, but the main one, which is Rise University and Unity Works Agency, is to help people bridge that solid foundation, to take what is inside of you and birth it into the collective, which is not easy. And I feel like a lot of us who are here to do whatever part we are to play in this transition that we are going through. I'm having my moments with the transition, if you can't tell. But
no, I can't tell. You're handling yourself very well right now, but because I
compared to
know a little
earlier.
bit, no, I think uh, so many people are. I mean, we know we have some close Facebook friends, people that we engage with often, and kind of well, and even just locals, people that I come across, that I'm cordial with,
Mhm.
and not necessarily a good friend, but it
A
doesn't
lot
take
of
much
us.
for me to really feel into somebody's energy and understand, that they're struggling a bit. And I am, I posted, I think it was yesterday or the day before, like when you really get that everybody is doing the best they can, even the ones that we may have our opinions about not doing so well and making choices not to do so well, whatever, they're doing the best they can at the level of conscious awareness that they're at.
I'm so
And
glad you said that, because that's my current lesson right now that Source is showing me. The example of it's not just two sides to the story. There's multiple sides
sure,
to a specific story. And what I was told through higher guidance was that, um, even when I don't feel like, uh, I don't agree with the other person, I may not, they may be asleep, and, sometimes the sleepiness can be contributing to the problem that we're going through. I have to release and surrender, because they're playing a part. And I'm not going to judge what part that they are playing, because at the end of the day, I mean, I don't even want, there was a time where I was taking on that responsibility, but I don't want to take on that responsibility anymore. That's up to the creator. Um, so it's been a journey. I mean, that's definitely something that I'm currently learning, that there's multiple sides to a story that.
well, yeah, yeah. So I know for myself, and when I first had my awakening, it was very well. when I first had my awakening, I went through a Kundalini activation like yourself. And it was pretty amazing. I mean, it was pretty exciting and amazing at the same time. It was, I didn't really fully understand what was happening. And I got thrown off track. I was going through what is referred to as a initiation and didn't fully understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And because of my own lack of self-worth and value, that I continue to put myself in compromising situations. But I've had to work hard to forgive myself, and I don't know that I've done that fully. I mean, it still shows itself in my field sometimes but I'm definitely a much further along than what I used to be, because there was a time when I was quite indignant. I had this spiritual
seniority,
or whatever, like this, like I'm whatever, and what became very judgmental of my whole family, all my friends, like everybody, like
did it too.
Not like I walked around and judged it, but the minute they did something that was against what I had now become aware of, right? I mean,
well, my sister would joke. My sister would joke with me and tell me that I sounded like the mom from The Water Boy because everything was the devil. I couldn't keep my mouth shut about what was going wrong, and everything is going wrong. Like, I can't even make it a minute outside.
I'm just thinking, I mean, that's exactly. Yes. So it's quite for those that have not experienced a Kundalini activation, and not that everybody's is going to be the same way, but there's a point where you're going through what's referred to as the dark night of the soul, and all the shadow aspects of our own selves, and what we're pointing out that it's something coming to get us, or is only aspects of ourselves to help us to awaken, right? Not that there aren't targeting. Now, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, people, because there's very much targeting, and it's a real happening in the physical world, but it's part of the process of going through the initiation of having.
But that even itself teaches you mastery, because like you had told me too, like I go through my journey. There will be times where it's like I'm in spiritual boot camp, guys, and I'm on my A game. Boom, 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 boom. And then there's some times where I just get into rest mode and I'm not as strict as I should be. And recently, like I've talked to Ida about, there are things going on in my life that have now got me questioning, like, Ida had said something to me like, well, it's something inside of you that needs to be worked on. And I'm like, I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't know if it's quite that, because I keep working on, but it's these different types of situations. However, the whole point of it, though, is my reaction to it. And that is something that this journey, just, really going inward into yourself, being mindful in the moment and allowing life to teach you, you'll start to realize that it's a switch of the perception. And I go back and forth. Life is happening to me, and depending on what's going on in the sky, because that all contributes to everything. It can be like a crisis, or I can be, on my A game and look at it as life is happening for me. So it's two different switches. In every situation that you have, good or bad, you always have a fork in the road of which way are you going to go. And that's usually based on your reaction to it. Now, you can sit behind, in your room or wherever you're at and be by yourself for a long, 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 long time, which I did because I became a hermit. COVID happened. Nobody went anywhere. We were all online. The real test, though, is this is where life teaches you, when it puts you in a situation and instantly you have to make that decision of, which way you're going to go.
Well, and so I appreciate everything that you just said. So I'm not going to go into the details of what you and I have talked about, but what I said to you was that you have a power that you don't realize how powerful that power is, right?
Oh, yeah. Not fully, no, because I've never
Right,
fully released it.
right.
So,
Okay, so I'll pull it back to myself. You know, there's times there's occasional times when I feel like I'm pushed to my limit, and there's a rage that is still like just waiting to be released, and it comes out here and there depending on, you know, especially if I feel like I'm not being understood or heard correctly, especially after I've said it kindly. I don't know how many times, and people just don't want to respect your views or value or what's important and what you value for yourself, right? They because people have ideas, like every person has a different understanding of who Jennifer is. You're
oh,
right,
absolutely. And
right?
that even
So,
goes into my human design. I
right.
don't, yeah.
Well, that goes for all of us.
Yes,
Like
it does. It
I
does.
have, I'm the youngest of 12 kids. Every one of my siblings has a different idea of who and what they believe I do to be, right? And
Whatever identity is playing in their head.
well, that's correct. And a lot of times people get attached to the person that they seen you as from their personal experience and judgments rather than your true self and who you truly are.
Yes.
And when it challenges how somebody sees you, it makes them uncomfortable, especially if you're making some changes in your life and you're doing things, you know, to the extent that you are, Jennifer, and building
Yes.
the website and taking on clients and doing the amazing work that you're doing. I mean, I can honestly say there's only less than a handful of women that I've met since 2011 that I had personal, real engagement with and developed friendships with that. And I don't know that there's any other than the woman that I'm working. I've mentioned to you, Zyra, before. She's just as deep and real as you are. And I appreciate that. Like those are the kinds of women. You are the kind of woman and other women that I want to invite into my life because I want to meet you right where you're at, right? With
I
no
love that.
judgment, with no preconceived, no nothing, just right where you're at, and remind you of your divinity, remind you how amazing you are and what you've come through is like a lot of I remember somebody said to me, you know, most people that have any most people what you've experienced in your life, most would have taken their lives. They would have taken their lives. They wouldn't have. And I actually had an experience of taking a bunch of pills and not wanting to be here because it was just a surrender. It
I've
wasn't a
had,
woe is me and life is whatever. Or no, it was just I'm done. I'm tired, and I'm taking the pills, and I'm going to lay down. And okay, I'm waiting for you to reach your hand down and grab me, God. But it didn't work that way because it wasn't meant for me to cross, as it wasn't meant for
for
all the
me.
trials and tribulations that you went through with drugs and alcohol, that you have a bigger purpose, my lady. And I know it. And I love watching you grow. And I love our conversations. I love talking and learning from you. You help me to see myself in different ways that I sometimes maybe don't know how to get to those aspects of myself and so forth. And so, and part of the reason I'm bringing that up too is because you said that there are, you know, it's not black and white, guys. There's so many, like we carry different archetypes in our personality self, right? So I made a post the other day about you'll never get rid of your ego. If
No, you
anybody
won't.
tells you you can, you're buying into the lie. The ego self is the personality self. You can transform that personality self into a higher octave and into service to others and to real magnetism where you're pulling in people that you can really help. And so forth, or you can, use it in a self-serving way and do other things. I mean, yeah.
The
Anyways,
ego
I
is
could go on a tangent because, yeah.
Oh no, first off, I do want to thank you for everything that you said. Thank you, because I love our conversations and you do the same thing for me. It's a lot of
You are amazing,
self-reflection.
and I'm not. Yeah, you know that I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, Jennifer.
No, and I feel the
Seeing
same
you
way about
grow
you,
just
Ida.
yeah,
I feel like especially I'll say this, but like with women, especially pick a community. You get women together. The one thing that we do talk about is all the shadow stuff that we need to come up, that's coming up inside of us. That's where I started to shift, like the jealousy. Jealousy, all that is telling you it's a sign for you to say, hey, I desire this, but I'm not at the vibration to attain it. Oh, what do I need to do to get there? That's the simple switch instead of all the other negative emotions that come
sure.
up with the revengeful and being nasty and all this other stuff. That's again the alchemy of the self.
And I
But
love that because yeah, I'm not a person to ever. I don't consider myself to be a jealous person, but I have moments of, really wishing that things were. I see somebody doing something, and I don't know that it's jealousy. Because I don't get I'm not that person that wants to be hurtful and vengeful and all those things. I don't, that's just not who I am.
not
But
me either.
yeah, but I think I don't know what word to use for that. And I don't even know that it's envy. I admire powerful women that are really doing the work and transforming. When I see somebody doing something that I know is not doing the work, and they're getting that, and I guess who am I to decide what the work is for them? I don't know, but you get what I mean. It
Oh yeah, and
kind of
well, and
frustrates me. It's like, what
it's
the
good
hell
to
is
point
going
that
on
out.
here?
It's good to point that out because this is where life starts to teach you about discernment. Again, what me and you do, the community that we talk to, and the stuff that we talk about, there's going to be people out there. I mean, this is where the difference between profits and profit,
Right,
that
right.
sort of thing.
And there's
But
nothing wrong. So yeah, go ahead, finish.
well,
I'm
it
sorry.
doesn't even,
There's
there's nothing wrong with that. There is it, but again, it goes back to where is your ego? You're never going to get rid of it. It's never going to go away. We actually need the ego in the collective because if you did not have egoic beings, nothing would get done in the tribe. So it is the ego beings that are really taking the initiative to get things done. So, but how are you doing that? Are you service to self or are you service to others? Are you allowing all of the insecurities, the triggers? Your triggers are going to be your greatest teachers. They're going to be bigger than anybody or any amount of money you pay for a coach, psychiatrist, or anything like that. Your triggers are going to be your greatest teachers. But it's just how are you reacting to the situation? And what are you going to go about doing to kind of change the direction?
Sorry, I
um
was trying to respond to a little shout out to Mario. Mario, thank you for joining us. You
I love
probably already got
Mario.
off. Yeah, thank you for joining us and having a listen to us have a soul to soul conversation about personal alchemy. Jennifer, I love these conversations with you, and please continue what you were saying. I just wanted to give him a little shout out. Yep.
No,
Well,
Mario is great. Definitely give
yeah,
Mario a shout out.
yeah.
He's been a key person in my journey. I'm really glad to see that he popped on. I'm not quite oh, there's comments. I'm not looking at the comments. Um but Mario's helped me a lot. This
Mhm.
is where I started to learn different things like astrology. Astrology and human design are my two favorite things, especially human design. But yeah, definitely shout out to Mario. And he's going to be at the event that we are co collaborating with, which is the fulldisclosuremovement.org. So super excited about that. But it's just me again. Let's see, where did I leave off on the last time? So, yeah, through my journey, I guess what kind of ended up happening through this whole thing was when 2019 happened, I got laid off. I went full force into figuring out how to put my business online, start offering my service. And of course, that opened up the door to all the questions that all soulpreneurs out there have. And that is, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? How do I do that? How do I put my stuff online? And I'm very techie. It is in my mission file, I will say, is, if you guys want to know what my etheric higher self does, it is, it reads the matrix pretty much. The best way that I can describe it is I can access different types of Akashic record. I can read the matrix programming in itself, like the zeros and the ones. All sorts of kind of things that my higher self can do. But here in the reality world of what Mission File is mainly coming through is the tech work, which is something that I've always known. When I first stepped into the soulpreneur journey, I started off with what was called the Garden of Enlightenment, which transformed into Rise Innerversity. And Unity Works Agency was my freelance agency that was bringing in the income to help fund Rise Innerversity, because I am a teacher. I recently found out that I have a very strong lineage of teachers and that type of education in my family tree. So that's what Rise University is the school itself, where I teach people how to do tech work, build websites, graphic designing, how to link everything, email marketing, along with the esoteric knowledge, the woo-woo stuff, how to use astrology to call in your clients, different type of meditation techniques, how to use mindfulness within your life and your business, human design, of course, some bit of astrology as far as you know, who you're here to serve, what you're here to package, how you're supposed to offer that to the world, those type of things. And Unity Works Agency kind of pairs in with that, to where if you don't want to quite do it, or like how me and Ida are going through the program, is she's not only learning how to do it, but I'm also help building it out in the process as we go through the course.
And Jennifer is super patient because I know nothing about computers. And I literally, so guys, I have I don't like to consider myself to be diagnosed with anything, but I do have ADHD, and I do have, I struggle with that. And sometimes, it could be right in my face. Shall we say, it's the top right corner button and the 3 dots. And I'm like, where are the 3 dots? I can't. So, but your patience is wonderful, and your teaching is so, what's the word I want to use? Your teaching is so direct but warm and inviting. I don't know how to, and I appreciate that, because I appreciate the directedness about you. And I do very much so. But I appreciate your patience and your warmth and understanding, that I'm challenged a bit. So, and anybody check out Jennifer's Rise Innerversity website. It's going to blow your mind. Just check out her Facebook page. Check out some of the content that she's written. I mean, it's just exceptional. And I want to, I'm a writer myself, and I need to finish my book. And that's another project that maybe at some point I'll be bugging you to help me get going, get moving along with. But I have a half a book written and want to finish it. But I want to get back to you. So what do you let me ask you this. What do you feel is going on with the collective right now? And what would you recommend to people that are either newly awakening and just becoming aware of some of these shadow work and meditation and yoga, the different, these seem to be a common. I'm more on the shadow work and sound healing and stretching and doing breathing techniques in the morning. Those things are important. And I just recently got a Deems device that you know about, but I'll share it here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't like it to have it too close to the computer, but this thing is powerful, and I'm telling you, it's powerful. Okay,
I can feel it.
Anybody interested in a Deems device, go to Chris O'Connor, the Deems device, and you
Yes.
will, yeah.
And I just did a show with him too, so you should be able to find that.
Yes,
on
and I
YouTube.
also, and Jennifer's just helped me get my Facebook page, somewhat organized so that I can, and created a beautiful graphics to get, because I decided to rebrand, and I'm going to keep doing that. But anyways, so what would you say to the people that are, let's talk about shadow work, because I think shadow work really ties well with personal alchemy.
Yes. I think right now, which I can tie into your first question, is what do I feel like is going on in the collective?
Yes.
It is a lot of shadow. About 2 years ago, I received the message, and higher guidance talks to me like I talk to myself, and it was piss or get off the pot. Do the work or don't do the work. And that wasn't just for me. That was the message to the collective. And what that meant is that we see a lot of people that do a lot of talking. And that's all it is. It's just talking, and it's all that energy spent on talking, but the work is not quite being done behind the scenes. And I can understand from a teaching aspect, of, going through and saying the same things over and over again. Life happens and you stop doing what worked for you behind the scenes, but you still go on and keep teaching it. Know that we are moving into a time right now. We're starting to see this play out in the collective, and many of us are online and can read this, that it's not going to matter what's coming out of your mouth. It's your energy. And
Absolutely.
energy,
Well, it's, yeah. That's
energy.
interesting. Just let me respond to that for a moment, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was doing a demonstration at the office that I work at, which is part-time right now until I get, I'm fine with. And I was doing a demonstration with the Deems device. And the woman was experiencing, feeling the energy going through her feet and so forth. And, I get excited because it's a new tool that I'm using. And of course, I want people to experience what I experienced from it. It's like eating good chocolate. You're like, try this chocolate, Jennifer. It's so freaking good, right? You want everybody to experience that. And I could feel like the whole room was filled up, and it was lovely to have that many people interested in my services. And I could feel this woman, or I felt something. Obviously, it was because it was all women in the office, but it was just so penetrating my auric field that I turned around and she looked a little, and I said, "Are you skeptic, ma'am?" I said, "Because it's okay to be skeptic. No problem. Question things. But for a moment, consider that this is a device that can really change lives, right?" But that feeling, what you were talking about, energy, like I pick up that I am highly intuitive and
a lot of us are. And
yes, I feel it. Yeah.
Well, and one thing, the alchemy to self, like it's these little things that I really just started to implement in my life. I felt that if, when I came online, and that it took me a while to adjust to that, because the masks that people wear, like seeing who people truly are, is not like people are like, oh my God, I want my gifts online. Sometimes you don't, because of what you're picking up. And especially like if you're new and you're just waking up and you're experiencing that, like I'm very expressive in my face. So I couldn't hold the expression of what was going on because it was like a train wreck in my head. Like, you're telling me one thing, but I am reading something completely different. And the mask is dropping, the veil is thin. And right now I felt when Pluto really made the transition into Aquarius, and it's going to dip back into Capricorn later this year, and it's in full Aquarius for I think 30 something years.
20 years.
That
20 years.
I know me and so many other people that it really not just shit, but things started to happen in their lives. And that's the test. Like I'm going through my own things. And like I've told Ida, I was like, pick a freaking area. There's something that's going on. But I also know at a deeper level that everything is happening for a reason. I am going through it for a higher purpose. I may not fully understand why at this moment. I will at one point in my journey. I just have to trust and surrender. You know, if you are just newly awakening and there's something inside of you for a long time that's been telling you that there's bullshit out in the world, start listening to it. I just said it perfect earlier. It does start as a whisper. The whisper has been there your whole entire life. You were having conversations with it when you were younger. It's just that some point along your journey, someone came along and said that didn't exist. You're talking to imaginary people. That is crazy. You know, children should be seen or not heard. You know,
or you've been traumatized so severely that you have completely lost your way.
Yes.
So, right.
Same.
And well, you never completely lose your way because always in your heart and mind, you know that there's something else, but nobody else is really able to comprehend that, or they just don't get it. And
well, that
I'm over trying to get anybody to get it. But something you said, Jennifer, I wanted to respond to, and I'm trying to think of. There was something you said that I was trying to wait for you to finish, and I wanted to say I should have wrote it down. It's okay; it'll come back if it's meant to.
Well, I was going to chime on what you said last is I think that's why a lot of us come together. That's why me and you have come together. I've met some amazing people through this platform and other platforms that are my really close friends, my best friends, that I would consider soul family, that I wouldn't change. And it is because, we all have an experience that's personal to us. And it helps when you can talk to someone about it. Like I can have the conversations with Ida about the crazy super soldier stuff that, projects that I feel like have happened to me or that I'm trying to make sense of, puzzle pieces within my life, where other people would look at me like I need to go to the psych ward. So, or not fully understand or grasp, and that's okay. But yeah, I it's all part of our journey, and I think that is another aspect that we do need to share with the collective.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need to have, so I'm a big proponent of, building strong, healthy, respectful, loving, direct, supportive relationships with women, right? I love my sisters. I love women, and not in a, I love women. And I want women to feel empowered and strong and know that they are supported, and that there are women like you and like myself and others that competition and jealousy, all that, whatever that stuff is, is not a part of our world. And I don't tolerate it. I don't project it on other people. I don't want it being projected on me. And And I think, you know, when I was talking about that rage inside of me, I just think that there's been this cry for understanding and really people really getting some of the things that I experienced through my targeting and dark night, you know, that were really difficult. And but ultimately it's only me, um it's only for me to work out, right? It's only for me to come to terms with. It's only for me to heal those aspects that and accept it and understand that I don't it doesn't have to define who I am now. And but that can be a challenging because it can influence decisions I make because I haven't fully reconciled it within myself. It's not
Yeah.
whoever did whatever to me. I'm talking about within myself, which is so lovely for you and I to have the conversations that we have sometimes, Jennifer, because it helps make sense and it just chips away a little bit more of release and being able to really
Shine that light.
yes and understand that, you know, we hold ourselves back, right? I mean, I realize, like, I've been talking about going and joining the gym. I'm joined at one place, but going to join the gym. And I had said to Jennifer said, if you spend that money, you'll be thinking about the money you spent and get your butt in that gym. And that's
Yes.
interesting that you say that because I say that to new clients that come in. Like, I do push packages. Why do I? And I don't like using the word push, but I encourage people to buy packages. Why? Because it gets you to commit to doing the detoxes and getting cleaned out and getting yourself, you know, I'm not on any medications now. Ionic detoxes are amazing. I don't take medication. I take natural, you know,
Yeah,
holistic.
that's what I take now. I have been completely medication free since I had that episode. They
Yeah.
gave me something for anxiety and a bipolar medication. I think I was on it for 2 weeks. It did not like my system was just rejecting, which was different.
Sure.
That was
Yeah.
different because before, give me any type of psychiatric drug just to fix me being, you know, miserable on this hellhole that we like. I knew that my soul was in this meat prison that I didn't quite like, that I finally was able to understand what was going on after my awakening. But yeah, I love what you said about that. Ionic detoxes definitely do help. You've given me one.
Yeah. But they're amazing. And you have to be consistent with it. People think, yeah, you take, but anyways, enough of that. Because Jennifer, it's 8:22 and I usually run 90 minutes. We have like 8 minutes left. I don't want to keep you all night, but I definitely want you to come back on. I think if we did a series of just shadow work shows, I think it would be super beneficial to help.
Absolutely. I mean, to wrap all this up, you know, one thing I want to chime on is like you selling the packages. Something that I will point out to anyone who is, you know, just waking up, is really kind of stepping into, you know, wanting to serve the collective, not knowing how to do it. A lot of the biggest thing that I struggled with, and I hear my clients struggle with, and other people, is the prices on the package. I've purchased a high dollar package. It taught me so many things. And the things that it did teach me outside of what I learned in it was my self-worth. It was the first time I had spent that amount of money on anything that much. And it lit that fire underneath my ass. And if you guys want to make a change in the collective, how many free items or $30, $25 items do you have sitting collecting dust because you haven't done anything with it, because it doesn't have that brain program that it's more valuable? So there is a reason why there is a price tag on that, but open it up to where it's going to teach you.
No, you said that to me, Jennifer. You said, Ida, you said, are you worth $1,500 or something? You said something along like, do you consider yourself
are you worth that? Do you
Yes,
feel like you are worth
absolutely.
it?
Absolutely, I'm worth it.
Yes.
And yes, but I get it because and moving out of lack mentality and fear of the unknown and not knowing how you're gonna, I mean,
That's still
all of
all an
those,
energy. It's
yeah,
still, when we're designed to live within the matrix. And of course, we're going to have the natural worries of our survival and everything like that. But I've had moments where I'm not quite worrying about that. And the prosperity comes in, and I'm not quite paying attention to the price tag or anything like that. It's
right,
when you don't have shit in the bank that you're laser focused. You got Raz on high
right,
alert to blow up that price big.
yeah,
So it's this. Again, if you're first waking up and you're diving into this, the alchemy of self, regardless of wherever you're going to go on this journey, whether you're newly awakened or you've been on this journey for quite some time, my gate of entry is always going to be learning mindfulness. Mindfulness is going to put you in the moment. Mindfulness is going to make you aware of what your thought patterns are, which are not always you, what your triggers are, where your emotions are, how you're going to react to the situation. Is going to help give you the clarity of the decision making that you're going to need, because you're going to be able to hear that little voice inside of you a lot louder than what this chitter chatter is going on in the mind. This is it can be your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy. So it is learning that you are a spiritual being navigating in a meat suit right now so that you can exist on this earthly plane. This is why I love tools like astrology and especially human design, because human design will tell you the vehicle that you're driving around in. And it also teaches you to get out of the driver's seat, get out of your head and into your heart and let your soul lead. And
absolutely,
that's not always an easy,
right.
that doesn't happen overnight. It is a learning journey, but there are people like me that can help you get started. uh, Ida is amazing too with what she does. I mean, there's so many different people that have really awesome different healing modalities, can give you different perceptions. I don't feel like it's just one person's information. I don't feel like it's just one person who has all the answers out there. The only person that has the answers for you is you.
Yeah.
It's just you need to open up and start listening. And I would say the my doorway is always going to be mindfulness. And being mindful is just take 3 minutes and just check in with yourself. Start doing that in the mornings. It doesn't have to be all meditation. It's just really paying attention to what's going on in the moment. Where are
Well,
your
set
emotions?
yourself a small goal. I mean, you don't have to go, you can set
No,
big goals, but set small ones. Like have yourself where do I want to be in 6 months? Start taking steps towards that. And if that means what's the first small goal that I'm going to accomplish this week? Sometimes it's just me getting one paper printed, okay? But small goals. And
one
but I also want you to tell people how can they use personal alchemy? What is it? What would you say 3 steps to move you into being in preparation to alchemize a thing, if
three
you will?
steps.
3 steps.
Uh,
Easy 3 steps that move somebody towards closer to being able to alchemize a situation or a challenge or an emotion or yeah.
3 steps I would highly recommend you getting started into that journey, because you are the alchemist. Is one, a clear vessel, like clean your system, do a
Which
detox
we're getting
cleanse.
ready to prepare. We're
Yep.
preparing to do a full parasite cleanse and doing other stuff. Both you and
Yes,
I, yes. So
definitely
that's
do it.
one.
That will
Yeah.
help you at least start getting a better clarity. Two, this all goes in with mindfulness as well, but two, check in with yourself in the mornings. what I started to implement that I did do at the very beginning was, when you get up, you go into the bathroom, you're brushing your teeth, you're looking at yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself, how are you doing today? What does my divine feminine need to feel creative? What does my divine masculine need to take action? And what does my inner child need to feel safe to express itself?
I
And I tell
love
my
that, Jennifer. Yes.
I tell
I love
myself,
that.
you're beautiful. You
Mhm.
you're going to kick ass, rock the day. You've got this, and pat yourself on the back. That's you just checking in with yourself in the moment. Just pay attention to what's coming up. And 3, get outside. I cannot stress the importance of just connecting with nature. And when you connect with nature, you're going to start to see the beauty of it. Being
So,
the
but
out
where does this all come together? So, I want people to get a clear understanding of what alchemy. When you are
the
doing
alchemy,
personal
well, I was just
alchemy,
leading up to that. Being the
I'm sorry.
alchemist is just understanding that the magic is all happening in the moment. It goes in deeper. You can balance the 4 quadrants of your life: the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical areas. Those are the 4 things that need to be balanced. But really, it's just getting into the moment and knowing that you hold all the power to everything that is going on in your life. But for you to realize that, you have to see it within the moment. And
Which I
to
think is
do that,
self-actualization, which is,
it's
what does
total
that
self.
mean? Self-actualization
Yes.
is making a thing you people talk about sovereignty and self-actualization. These words are thrown around. Self-actualization is actually one of my favorite statements, right?
Mhm.
Because we have to walk into the manifestation to actualize the thing, right? You can't just say, "Oh, I'm self-act." If you're not taking the
You have
steps
to take
to,
action.
that's right, to
You can't just
actualize,
visualize. You can't just
right?
meditate 8 hours a day and visualize for it
Well,
to come.
there are things like when I had my full, when I was fully lit and my light body was fully activated, I was creating out of thought and manifesting
Oh,
quite
I've
instantly.
done it too.
Yeah.
I
So
have
we
done it
can do
too.
those things, but I would say to people that you don't stay up there forever. Like you oscillate, because that's what we're here. We're in a dualistic reality. But you can get to a place where you are running on a more of a neutral, uh energetic, um being more neutral rather than in judgment, where you're flip flopping in your mind back and
Yes.
forth and in battle, where you can just be an observer, is really what I'm saying,
It
and
is.
not
That's
going
all it
into
is.
judgment. Because
The
I thought about
alchemy.
that earlier, Jennifer. I was thinking how many times, like, we cross people's path every day, for whatever reason, and how many times do we see a stranger and we automatically, make a judgment about that person, like,
Oh,
by the way they look or how they're acting or what they're doing, and it's like, I don't want to do that shit. I don't care. Like,
yeah. The alchemy of self is really just a lot of self reflecting.
yeah.
I mean,
And really transmuting a negative into a positive.
There are not
Or at least,
alchemists out
at the
there
very
that
least,
do
or at
that, but
least neutral.
it goes back into the moment and just really it, you got to know who you are, and you won't know who you are until you get back to the core of yourself, and that's releasing all the stuff that anybody ever told you in your entire life of who you think you are. And
Right.
that goes through massive amounts of programming. But
Yeah.
to just get back to start the journey of getting connected with yourself, it's
I
just
love that, what you just said. You gotta know who
self-actualization.
you are.
Yes,
We all need to
especially
know
the
who we
mirror
are.
work, checking in with
Yeah.
the mirror. And I always do it looking into my eyes. And the mirror, yes, can be a portal if you are, do protection if you want to do this before whatever, but I always ask myself those 3 things. And I make sure that I do look at myself in the eye, because when you are having a serious conversation with another person that's not you, and you're looking at their eyes, you know it's a little bit different than when it is when you're looking away. So I make sure that my soul can see myself expressing what it is that I really want, you know, what I want my experience to be. We are the projectors. It's not, what's happening outside of us isn't a result, isn't because of what it is, a result, or it's a byproduct of what is happening inside of us, is the experience that we are creating on outside. Human design can take it a deeper level. It tells you as below, where astrology will tell you as above, and how it correlates with what's happening above you is influencing you down here for you to have this certain experience. And again, going back to human design, and I had told Ida this earlier today, the reason I do love human design is because there are things that someone may have told you a long time ago that that's not how you should express yourself, or you shouldn't be this way or whatever, but that's in your genetics. That may be a way that you are supposed to express yourself, because we're uniquely different, and we all serve a different purpose in this massive.
In the influence of our star
thing.
sign, our sun signs, our moon. I mean, all those things play a big part. I mean,
what's happening on the macro is, the macro is happening on the micro. Yeah. It's the same. It's just
as above, so below, my lady.
If you look at us from high above, we can be just like ants. You know?
Yeah, I love her. Oh, you are the best. I'm so thankful to have you on. I hope you come back. I trust you will.
Absolutely. I'm going to have you on my show too. So
I would love to. And okay, so everybody go check out Rise Innerversity, and it's going to blow your mind. Seriously. I mean, I every once in a while I'll go to visit just to see what she's up to, or a lot of stuff that she posts. I mean, just blows my mind. Her creative expression and how she puts graphics together and words to, like, the whole bit is just really lovely the way you do. And she actually did. So let's give a little shout out to Brian Singh. Brian Singh is doing he is funding the Full Disclosure Now conference happening in July. Yes. And we are hoping to get everybody to come a couple days early, so that you can join us at Day of Being with Zach Fisher and Sue Fisher, who are hosting, and they both are friends of Jennifer and myself. And there's going to be Laura Eisenhower, Penny Bradley, Drago Reed, Miles Johnson's coming in from the UK, Carrie Cassidy, Tony Rodriguez. I mean, our lineup is just mind-blowing. Arkeem,
Rion Duran, Mario's going to be there, Christopher Jacobs, Sean Bond. Yep. I mean, we've
got I'm telling you, Jennifer, this is the best speaker lineup that I've ever seen.
It's not even just the speakers, but even the vendors too. The vendors, so that's even growing.
You guys, you got to come.
It got me excited.
Get your ticket. You got 5 months. It's not until July. Start making preparations, and I highly encourage everybody to join us. It's going to be an amazing event for sure. And
absolutely, tickets you can find at the fulldisclosuremovement.org.
Yes, and Jennifer built that website, so you'll be able to see her work. You can check out my Facebook business page, the Soulful Synergy. My mind's getting a little twisted here, or my tongue, but I feel really charged from having this, having you on the show. I feel excited.
It was a great conversation.
It was a great conversation. So I'll be sure to have you come back, and we'll go further into maybe some shadow work. Maybe next time we'll really maybe hone in on shadow work. I think that'd be very helpful for a lot of people. People are challenged right now, and people are getting triggered and really having a tough time. And and include my. I don't consider myself.
I do
having a
too,
tough
guys.
time.
It takes me less than 3 minutes to have a meltdown in my car as soon as I go out in the collective.
And that's okay. That's okay. You know, Jennifer and I were also, and then we'll end the show because we are running a little bit over. And thank you to everybody that's joined us and those of you that will be watching. You do go to YouTube and go to my live until I get that corrected under live, and you'll find all the new interviews that I've done most recent since I rebranded my YouTube channel. Jennifer and I were talking about how we are taught to suppress and not be able to feel our anger, or somehow that we should be somewhere in our spiritual development that we're not supposed to feel anger anymore, that it's a low vibe, or any of the, we'll say, the root chakra challenges that some of us may go through, which anger, jealousy, envy, lack mentality, all the things that sometimes can, certain things will trigger us, and we have these moments of challenges, and it's only to remind us that first off, to trust in the supreme source and know that we are going to be supported, and that we have friends that support us and love us, and that that nothing that happens is going to, we can move through it and come out the other end feeling empowered, and realize that it was a great lesson, basically, is what I'm saying. So,
yes.
And so, yeah.
Without anger, guys, we wouldn't have revolutions.
Well, that's right. Be patient with yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Allow yourself to get angry if it's needed. I'm not saying to sit in that, but if you need to express yourself, or to even go for long walks, or do some breathing exercises, or do some push-ups on the floor, on against the wall, like there's things that you can do to kind of
dive into something
transmute
creative
and alchemize the.
Yes. That's just alchemizing it,
Okay, my love. Thank you so much, beautiful Jennifer Nunez. Thank you so much for coming on Cosmic Brew, and we will see you next time. Everybody, go to her website and check her out. And if you need any websites built, or landing pages, or any kind of tech stuff, or just reach out to
coaching, mentoring,
right? Coaching, mentoring. That's right. And she's got great. Check out her website, and you'll see.
Rise Innerversity is filled with a lot of information. There's a free mastermind that I just put up that will actually help you with the start of the alchemy self. So that is Becoming the Alchemist. It helps you learn how to balance the 4 quadrants of your life and you becoming yourself. So there's a lot of plethora of information on there to help you get started.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
And I love you.
I love you. You're awesome too, girl.
All right. Have a great night. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Let's I'm still learning StreamYard. Yes. Here we go. Yeah.